I'm glad I thought of that. Okay, here, we'll start over. We're going to act like that didn't happen. Okay, welcome to our Wednesday webinar for Body Electric. We have these every Wednesday. I'm super excited that Katie Kelly is going to be speaking tonight on our call. You guys know her face from our team page. She's one of our diamond leaders on the team. And I love that this is her topic for tonight because truly I've seen so much personal growth in all of our leaders on this team, but especially with Katie in this regard. I remember a couple of years ago, her constantly kind of talking about struggling with routine and struggling with sort of organization in her business and focus in that area. And so The Miracle Morning is a book by Hal Elrod. I think it was a book that changed her life and has changed her business. So she's going to be talking about that, how she incorporates a morning ritual into her daily routine. I hope it's helpful for you guys because I know, because I've been talking to a lot of you on the phone, I know that productivity and focus and spending time on your business are all areas of intentionality for you guys. So I'm excited for her to talk about this. I'm going to not waste any more time. We're recording. So Katie, I'll hand it over to you and we'll do Q&A at the end. So take it away.
Helps if I unmute myself. Okay. Thank you, Jenny. Thanks for letting me speak. One of my dreams with this business is to be able to speak and help other people because I know that's something that has helped me a lot. So this is exciting and a happy moment for me. So I want to tell you, I found myself curled in a ball, wound up super tight, like almost in child's pose. I remember my forehead pressed against the carpet. I remember how the carpet feels like pressing into my forehead and how my hands were gripping the ground. And between sobs, I was pounding the ground and yelling out, I'm sorry for my neighbors, I can't do this. I can't do this. I can't do this. Just sobbing. And it was like a physical weight of all of the world was pressing down on me. Like the weight was so heavy, I could not even stand up. I couldn't lift my head. All I could do was cry. And that is me with my cup empty. Being a Beachbody coach can be exhausting. It can be stressful. It can be frustrating. It can be, it can wear you to the bone if your cup isn't getting filled. That was me with my cup empty. I was giving to everyone. I was doing the work. I was working hard. I was hustling. I was helping people. I cared about people. I was doing everything I thought I could do. And that's part of why I was on the floor saying, I'm doing everything. I'm doing everything. And life sucks. I'm lonely. I'm exhausted. My business isn't flourishing. Like, I don't understand what more I can possibly do. And so from that point of being completely empty, that's why, like Jenny said, the book, The Miracle Morning, really did change my life. And it's funny because Jenny gave me the book, The Miracle Morning, in October, and I just like set it aside because I was like, that looks boring. Like, I mean, I didn't even take it out of the gift bag that she gave it to me in. Like, I was just like, like, I don't want to read that. So finally, because I'm super competitive, in a conversation, Dawn mentioned that she was almost done reading it, and Abby mentioned she was almost done reading it. And I was like, well, I can't be beat by other people who are reading this book and I'm not, so I better read it. And I sat down on a Friday night and stayed up and read the entire book that night. I think I finished like one more chapter in the morning because like as soon as I started reading it, I realized this was something powerful. So when you are giving to people, you know, people are constantly asking you questions. You're constantly trying to help people lose weight. You're constantly trying to build your team, help your team. You're giving, and giving. That's your cup being empty. And instead of giving from a place of like pouring out, you know, I've got my water, instead of like pouring out my water, you know, to people, instead you need to have water flowing in, and then from your excess, you give to others. But if you don't constantly have that stream flowing in, you're going to end up like me with your face on the floor. So I really encourage you to get the book. The Miracle Morning and read it. And then get the book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers, which is even better because it's really specific to what we do, and read it. And I'm going to give you just a quick overview of what it's about, but reading the book is really going to help you figure out how to make it work for you. So part of the concept of the Miracle Morning is getting up earlier. And people will say, oh, well, I'm not a morning person. And to that, I'm like, okay, then you must love being a stressed out, exhausted, uninspired person. Good for you. Happy for you. But really, I'm going to talk about at the very end how you can do the Miracle Morning in 6 minutes. Anyone can get up 6 minutes earlier. I choose to get up an entire hour earlier. I get up when I have my son with me. I'm a single mom, and so I have my son every other week as part of our custody. When I have him, I get up at 4 a.m. because from 4 to 5, it's like a time that's my sanctuary. No one's bothering me. I'm feeding. I'm like, that water's pouring into me and it's giving me life. And I end that inspired. I a lot of times will make a little post based on what I just read. So I have something to post on Facebook right away. I feel better. I feel amazing. And then I'm ready to handle my son when he gets up. So you can get up 6 minutes earlier, or you can get up before your kids get up. I think Jenny Miracle Mornings at like 8:30 in the afternoon after I've already been up for like 5 hours. But but I also go to bed super early. Let me point that out. Sleep is super important. Okay, so let me go through the concept of the Miracle Morning. You're basically doing 6 simple things specifically each morning that are going to set you up for success. And you do each thing for a certain amount of time, and the time is based on what you decide. So my Miracle Morning looks like this. My alarm goes off, and I have my alarm in my kitchen next to a glass of water. So I get up and I turn off the alarm, and then I drink the water. And this is from the book. This is the idea. And then that reminds me that I have to pee. So I put the hot water on the kettle because I'm a coffee drinker, and I go to the bathroom. And at that point, I'm awake. So I used to be a snoozer, like a snooze. But if you drink the water and then you have to go to the bathroom, it kind of wakes you up a little bit. So then while my coffee water is boiling, that's when I do the first step, which is silence. Then I take some time to meditate. Then after my coffee has brewed, or not brewed, but boiled, then I have a French press. So then I pour the water into the grounds and set a timer for 4 minutes. And at that point, I do my visualization and my affirmations for 4 minutes. Then after that, exercise is one of them, but I'll get to that in a minute. Then I sit down and I read, and I set a timer for 10 to 30 minutes based on how much time I have that day. And I read, and then I have my journal with me at that time. And anytime something is like an aha, I stop and I write it down in the journal. And then at the end, I kind of just write. Sometimes I write things I have to do. Sometimes I write how I'm feeling. Sometimes I write what I'm grateful for. Whatever it is, I write it down. And then if I'm doing my workout, then I do it then after I'm done with my reading. If I'm doing a workout later in the day, I will do a minute of jumping jacks. So that's how I do it. But I kind of want to touch on each thing and explain what it is and why it's important. So the number one thing is silence. And this is by far the hardest thing for me to do. It is really hard for me to meditate. It's really hard for me to shut my brain down. Part of why it's difficult is I grew up Baptist, and meditation meant some type of pagan worship type deal. And so I have to kind of bust through that block in my head and realize that just silencing your brain is okay. But all day long, our phones are blowing up. We're getting texts. We're getting Facebook messages. We're on Facebook. We're talking to people. We're go. Our brain is running strategy all the time. We never take a minute to just do nothing. Our brain never gets a break, ever. So this is an intentional time to give your brain a break. And There are some apps that I've tried that can help walk you through a quick meditation, like a 2-minute meditation to even longer. So the apps like Headspace is a neat app. There's some other free ones that are out there. Lewis Howes, he, in his book, The School of Greatness, he talks about how he counts. And this one has helped me a lot because it kind of gives me something to focus on. But you inhale and then you exhale like counting. And you do that a number of times. So I'll count on my hands and I'll inhale, exhale, and I'll kind of like do something like that. And it helps me to kind of calm my brain down. Or Brendan Bouchard, he has a tip where he just says the word release over and over and over. There's another person who talks about inhaling something you want and exhaling something you don't want. So sometimes I do that. But I have started researching meditation because I'm realizing it's such a struggle for me and I want to improve on it. And it helps build gray matter in your brain. It makes you less stressed, helps you sleep better. There's all these reasons to meditate and to have silence. And so I really want to embrace that, and I need to learn how. It's a weakness for me. There's a Bible verse that I've always loved, which is, be still and know I'm God. And sometimes I sit there and I just am like, be still. Just be still and know. So that's silence. Affirmations. I have mine written on a whiteboard in my kitchen. So when I'm doing my whole thing, all I do is just turn around and I look at them. But in the book, The Miracle Morning for Network Marketers, he describes how to write really effective affirmations. So affirmations, you're thinking about who you are, like acknowledging the good you are, and then also what you want out of life, and you're speaking it into existence, basically. One of the affirmations that I say is, I am 100% committed to reaching 5-star diamond in 2016 by helping my team earn Success Club 5 and by recruiting 1 or more coach per week. So it's something I say every day. It reminds me of my goal. It reminds me of the work that is necessary for my goal to happen. And it's encouraging me every day that this is going to happen and this is how it's going to happen. Another one I say is actually just I quote a Bible verse, which is, he is able to do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine because of his great power at work within us. So it's centering me and connecting me to my, life force, which for me, I believe is God. So it connects me to that part of who I am. Another one I say is, I am a Success Club All-Star, because I am. Yet every single month, I'm like, I don't know if I can do it again, and I'm like, no, Katie, you are a Success Club All-Star. Like, rock it out. You'll do it again. You did it before, you'll do it again. So I say something that reminds me of something I've already done because I struggle with self-doubt. So I do that. And then I have one that I kind of am lying to myself, but it's I have constant discipline because I need to have constant discipline. But I feel like if I say it enough, then maybe it'll soak in. So I'm going to try that. But anyway, the affirmations, I change them every month. Every month, Jenny has taught me to make a board with all my goals. So I also make a board with my affirmations. So those were actually my March affirmations. Let's see. Visualization. Okay, I would like everyone to do this. I would like you to not think about your kitchen. Do not think about your refrigerator. Do not think about your counters. Do not think about your door handles. Do not think about the tile. Do not think about anything that is dirty in your kitchen right now. Okay, raise your hand if anyone is thinking about their kitchen and exactly what it looks like. Okay, that's visualization. You did visualization. So anyone can visualize. It's basically the grown-up word for imagination and daydreaming. So what visualization does is it helps you create emotion around what you want in the future. And when you do that, you are engaging your subconscious mind to want it and to go for it and to believe that it's possible. So one of my visualizations is I imagine walking on the stage at Summit, and I imagine what I'm wearing. And I imagine how I'm going to feel, and like who the people are going to be watching, and like just all of that moment is really important to me. But there's anything that you can visualize. So I just take a little bit of time. Another thing I do is I visualize what I'm going to do during the day. So I will visualize sitting down, and this is from the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers. I will visualize like having a good meeting. Like I met a guy for breakfast, a prospect, and I visualized I walk in with a smile. He's excited that I'm there. He's interested in what I have to say. Our conversation goes great. I feel amazing. I love my breakfast, and I think about how it's going to go. And then that sets me up to walk into that meeting with confidence. And I will sit in the morning and I will think about my whole day, like how I want to go. Like today I'm going to, I visualize like having confidence when I'm typing emails, or, thinking about how things are going to go. Let's see. Exercise. I feel like we all know we need to exercise. Gives you more energy. That's covered. Boom. Reading. So many people say, I'm not a reader. And I can't remember where I read it. Somebody said at one point, like, people spend 10 years taking everything they know about a subject and all of their expertise and condensing it down into a thing that you can read in just a few minutes. I think it was Tony Robbins recently said that. And you're going to say you're not a reader? Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, somebody worked that hard to make it easy for you to learn something. Like, you should just say thank you. But I also was not a reader before I became a Beachbody coach. I only read Twilight and Harry Potter. So reading has been kind of a thing for me. But intentionally reading every morning something that will help me grow is different than just reading. Like, instead of, like, I love nutrition and I could just sit and read books about nutrition, but that's not challenging me. That's not helping me grow. So part of the Miracle Morning is that you are exercising your mind. You're not just sitting there and absorbing. So I'm going to show you some of the books that I've read that have helped me out. Got a stack here. So EntreLeadership, awesome book for practical leadership. GoPro, awesome for helping us with network marketing. This one is the 45-second presentation that'll change your life. More tips on how to do what we do. This one is called Soulmate, and it's Master the Art of Aloneness, because I'm alone and lonely. So, but it has helped me a lot with my emotional issues, and we're an emotional business. We're in a relationship business. And if I can't get a handle on my emotions, that's going to make me a negative Nancy all day long. And who wants to read all my lonely posts? Sometimes I still post them. I'm sorry. It happens. Rock Your Network Marketing Business was useful. This one, Think and Grow Rich, is all about visualization. If you want to, and affirmations, and how your mental game can be life-changing. The 21, what is this one? The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Growth. That's a good one. Or Laws of Leadership, sorry. And this one helped me out. The One Thing, how to prioritize. So these are not just like fun books. These are not my devotions. These are books that are helping me grow. It's my chance to go to school, basically. And then I'm also, like, the book I'm reading right now, it's called No Matter What, and it's overcoming obstacles in your life. And it's about not having a scarcity mindset. I realized I've been having a scarcity mindset. And so anyways, I'm reading these books, and I read it only for like 10 to 30 minutes. And then as I think about things, I jot them down. So that takes me to journaling. I used to hate journaling because I judged myself so harshly. I would critique my writing. I would critique my handwriting. I would critique my poor grammar. I would critique every single thing about my writing, and then I would be terrified that someone would see it later, and I would be embarrassed. I hated journaling. So this is my tip for journaling. There are no rules, and no judgment. No rules, no judgment. Okay? So one thing I will write down are quotes from the book, because when you read something awesome, you're like, that's amazing, and then you totally forgot it 5 seconds later. I find that if I jot it down, in my journal, later when I want to make a Facebook post and I have no ideas of what to write, I can go to my journal quickly and see, the things I've written down that I platinum edge. What? But anyway, I will just go in and I'll read some of the stuff that I wrote down in the past that I was inspired by, and it inspires me yet again. But I will write down kind of like ideas that come to my mind or things I need to do, what I'm grateful for. And a lot of times I'll write what I was thinking while reading. So you can do journaling any way you want, but what I found is that it really cements the ideas that I was learning that morning. Instead of it just being like in one ear and out the other, it cements it and it grounds me, and it helps me track my growth from, like the things I was struggling with earlier in the month or the things I was celebrating earlier in the month. I can go back and look and kind of track my journey, which has been really neat. So the way to do this in 6 minutes is you'll use a timer, like on your phone, and you'll set a 1-minute timer, and you'll sit in silence for 1 minute. Then you'll need to be prepared in advance, of course, but have your affirmations written down somewhere and just say whatever, maybe one affirmation, just repeat it. Do a quick visualization. Have it in mind ahead of time what you already want to visualize. So maybe it's just how your day is going to go, or maybe you're nervous about responding to you reached out to a prospect and they sent you a message back and you're really nervous about like, oh Lord, I don't want to blow the deal. Visualize how that conversation is going to go. For exercise, do 1 minute of something. I really like jumping jacks because it's like your whole body's involved, and you can do 60 in a minute, and it gets your heart rate up, and you feel really good after. And like I can't imagine doing like a full minute of just straight push-ups because I would be I would be lazy and only do like 3. So do jumping jacks. Reading, you could do what a guy in the Miracle Morning for Network Marketers, they interview different successful people, and this guy, he just like grabs a book and he just opens it and he's like, awesome, normal business culture gets in the way of productivity. Boom. And he like goes about his day, like he does some like speed reading thing. So grab a book, open it up, maybe bookmark it from another day, but just read one little thing and then write down for another minute. Write down what it was you learned, what it was that you thought about, what you're grateful for. And then boom, go about your day. But then you're filling your cup up every single day, and it has changed my life. And I want you to try it, please. Please try it. Okay, that's my spiel. The end.
Awesome. Way to rock it out. Yeah, so a few things that I want to add to that because I think it was fantastic, and I hope that you guys realize the simplicity of all of that. But yet, I really do think that it's the consistency and the simplicity that leads to results. And I think it's Katie's consistency with doing that simple routine every morning that has led to the results that she has and will continue to have. A couple things. One is that Katie tends to call my house her second home, which I love because she visits often. She comes for all the events. She always shows up, which is just a point in itself. But every time she's at my house, I'm so impressed that she stays faithful to her Miracle Morning. So what I mean by that is, we could be up late talking until 12:30 or 1 o'clock in the morning or sometimes later. And she's religious about setting that alarm and making that Miracle Morning happen. I think that it's that work ethic behind Katie that makes her successful. And that's why I wanted her to share about her Miracle Morning, because I think that, like I said, I've talked to a lot of you individually who are feeling overwhelmed. If you're feeling overwhelmed, or if you're feeling like she described, which was perfect, if you're feeling like your cup is empty and you're trying to pour from an empty cup, this is a 6-minute routine that you can do. Anybody can do this routine. So I want to, kind of rewind a little bit and just sort of summarize what she told you. Okay, so what it's called in the book is Life Savers. So it's an acronym. So SAVERS stands for this. S is silence, A is affirmations, V is visualization, E is exercise, R is reading, and S is scribing. Okay, so that's exactly what she just told you. Sometimes, though, that acronym can make the difference when you're trying to remember what it is you're supposed to be doing. So if you plan on spending, even if it's just 1 minute per item, that's still going to be a fantastic way to fill your cup and to be able to pour into others' lives throughout the day. This was interesting because I read The Miracle Morning. I had heard about it from a few other coaches that had seen success with it. And I decided to read the original Miracle Morning first. And literally throughout the entire book, like every night I would lay down to read. And Chris, every night he asks me, what are you reading? Because I keep a stack of books on my nightstand and I don't always read the same one. But like Katie, I got really hooked on this particular book. And so I was reading The Miracle Morning. And so every night I would tell him, and every night he would say to me, so are you like waking up at 5 a.m. tomorrow? Because I am, if you guys know me, I am not a morning person. Like, do not ask me to get up before 7. It just doesn't happen. So I kept telling him, no, this book's crazy. Like, this book's ridiculous. Like, no way I'm doing this. And he's like, well, then why are you reading it? I'm like, I don't know. I just am. Like, it's a good book. So I kept reading it, but yet I wasn't applying it. It's like I wanted to be that person who could implement The Miracle Morning. And I'm so proud of Katie for doing it. So what I ended up doing was I ended up doing a 6-minute version. And yes, my 6-minute version happens at about 8 a.m. So that's when I typically, I get up about 8 o'clock-ish every day. And that's when I do my Miracle Morning. Mine looks a little bit differently. And I got my inspiration from a success partner that I met. He's somebody that's not a Beachbody coach. He's just somebody that you guys met him at our team summit, Matt Hunkler. We did a visualization activity with at the Lewis Howes event, which was really cool, but also awkward because Lewis had us sit knee to knee, like literally touching the person that we were sitting across from. So here's this stranger that I don't know. He's an entrepreneur, and we're sitting knee to knee, and we have to visualize with each other. And so we start visualizing not only what we want our future to be, but what our day looks like. And so his day, he told me, repetitively in that exercise that every morning he wakes up, and when his alarm goes off, his feet hit the floor, and he does about a minute. I don't think he really is timing it, but he does a few sets of sun salutations. So for those of you who are into yoga, it's that very like artistic looking, inhale up, exhale forward, touch your toes, step back to plank, downward dog, and you just repeat that cycle. He does a few of those sun salutations right out of bed. So that appealed to me because I knew that would be a way that I could wake up, was if I did the exercise portion first. So he does the sun salutations first, and then he ends it with Shavasana. He lies flat on his back, and he literally does his meditation next. Then he does his affirmation for the day, his visualization, and then he reads before he takes a shower. So that doesn't mean that that's his workout for the day. Like, he might come back and do another workout later. But I found that really powerful that he would continue to say that to me. And it was after that event that I read Miracle Morning. So I had witnessed this successful entrepreneur telling me about his morning ritual. It didn't have a name to it. I'd never heard anything like that before. And then slowly, this concept kept dripping into my life. I would listen to a podcast where someone would ask someone else what their morning ritual looked like. And every morning ritual was the same. Every morning ritual contained those 6 elements, the life savers. Maybe not in the same order, maybe not the same amount of time, but every successful person that I heard that was interviewed about this topic gave the same 6 items. So then when I read Miracle Morning, it was like putting words to that ritual. Okay. So all of that to just give credibility behind what Katie has to say, because I do think that whether you can fit this in 6 minutes in the morning or an hour or 2 hours, whatever it looks like for you, I think it could make all the difference in the world. Because as you grow in this business, as you acquire more customers, more coaches, as people are asking you more questions, as coach relations is being a pain in the butt, you're going to start feeling like you're overwhelmed and you don't know where you're pouring. And if you
wanted to ask one more thing.
Right, you're in good shape. Go for it.
One more thing that I do that I forgot to mention is I do not look at my notifications at all until my morning is done, until my Miracle Morning is done. Mine is 1 hour. So that's huge for me. Like, I do not connect with any of the rest of the world. It's only me right then. And if I do look at it, then it ruins everything. So anyway, sorry, I had to interject.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. So the only other thing that I wanted to just call special attention to was I love just the simple tip of putting your alarm clock in the kitchen. I don't know if anybody picked up on that. If getting up is difficult for you to do, why not make it more difficult? Why not make it so that you have to get up? And I've heard people say before, put your alarm clock on the opposite side of the room so that you have to get up. I tried that one time, and all I did was zombie walk my way to the alarm clock, turn it off or throw it, and then get back in bed. So I like the idea of putting it next to your next step. So her alarm clock is on her stove. She has to leave her bedroom. She has to walk out. She has to hit her alarm clock, and then she puts her water on to make coffee. Then she says, oh, I got to pee. By the time she pees, she's like awake and ready to rock and roll for the day, right? So I think that is just brilliant in and of itself. So lots of little tips here. I hope you guys were taking lots of notes. I know I took like 3 full pages of notes just because I know I'm always improving, especially in the morning department. But with this, I want to make sure we open it up for questions, but I want to wrap up my piece of it here by just saying my favorite part of this was from your excess, you give to others. Okay, that's a Katieism. That's worth a quote. It's worth an image on Facebook, so I'll help you craft that. But from your excess, you give to others. And I think that's what, in a nutshell, that's what this is about tonight. Our team is growing super fast. You guys are recruiting like rock stars. Our team is booming. With that comes a sense of overwhelm, a sense of comparison to other people, a sense of feeling like your cup is empty. If you can incorporate even just a 6-minute miracle morning every day, I think you'll be in a different place, in a different mindset. So with that, does anybody have any questions? If you do, you can either chat them or you can unmute yourself for Katie to answer. I don't know what I just did, but oh, there we go. Okay. So if you have any questions, please unmute yourself or chat. Take advantage of somebody else being on here besides just me, you guys. Ask away.
And I'll answer pretty much anything. I try to be an open book. So Dawn just texted me privately and said, "Who's my guest?"
Yes, is that the Brewburger guy? Oh my gosh, Katie, I thought that was him. I saw that photo and I'd screenshotted it already. I was going to text it to you, but I wanted you to be focused for the webinar. But oh my gosh, that's hysterical. Okay. So no questions off limits.
Yeah, no questions about that. But anyways, beyond that.
Raise your hand if you consider yourself a morning person.
Hey, Katie, this is Jill. I have a question.
Okay.
We have similar situations with which we've talked about. So when you have your son, and
yeah.
I haven't shared my story on our team page, which I will one of these days, but I have my girls 24/7, and yeah, I'm feeling very overwhelmed. I've read The Miracle Morning. I read it when I went to Canada with my boyfriend Eric, and it was amazing. I took a ton of notes tonight. But the weeks you have your son, how do you do this? How do you get up at 4? Is that what I need to do?
I get up at 4 and I go to bed at 9.
Okay, I was going to ask you when you go to sleep.
And I put him to bed earlier. I mean, he's in bed before 8 o'clock.
Okay.
But I bump things back in order to make it happen. The Wednesday webinars are hard for me on the weeks that I have him because I know I need to go to bed. But on like the next day, if I can't do the full hour, then I'll do a shorter one. But I have to do it before he gets up, because as soon as he gets up, he's hungry, he's whatever,
right.
He needs me, and I need time without him.
Right.
Well,
and currently I get up at 5:30 and I wake my girls at 7. So I get up and shower and do what I need to do during that time, because it's kind of nice to have that time to transition into parenting, but I could be doing so much more with it. And I did read the book, and this has been really helpful for me tonight, because I could be doing so much more.
Stay on track is there's like a word for it where you time everything that you're doing, but I use my iPhone timer and I use my activities to time what I'm doing to move myself along, or else I'll get lost in la la land forever. Like, so I have to have time limits. So like in the beginning I would set a timer for the affirmations and stuff too, but I ended up like figuring out a flow for myself, so I don't. But set a timer, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to give myself 20 minutes for Miracle Morning, and then you just need to calculate how much time you're going to devote to each item. Set your phone. When it goes off, you move on to the next thing. Boom, boom, boom.
Okay, I like it. Thank you.
Yeah, and for those of you who are not morning people, kind of like me, for me, it was literally a matter of setting my alarm clock back 6 minutes. Like that, I could handle. Literally, I've had life coach appointments about my lack of morning skills. And the best thing for me is literally just to back up my alarm clock, you know, whether it's 6 minutes or 20 minutes or something like that. For me, 4 a.m. would result in a face plant at like 10 a.m. Like I would just be done for the day. So it's different for everybody. So don't feel like, oh my gosh, you know, to make this business work, I have to get up at 4 a.m. It could just be literally 6 minutes before your normal alarm time. Just a place for you to get centered and ready to take the day on.
And I Miracle Morning much later on Saturday. So.
Yeah. Any other questions?
This is Matt here.
Hi, Matt.
You're very pretty.
So I have for the last month, I'm not a typical morning person. I'm a forever snoozer. Like I've been known to snooze for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, and I'm sure my husband hates it. But I've been working on getting up earlier and doing my exercise, my workout stuff in the morning too. How long did it take you with getting up a full like hour earlier to get really into the habit and get to where you love it and enjoy it versus dreading it, struggling through it? Maybe you hit it 3 times a week versus every morning. That sort of thing. And progress is progress, but that's what I'm working on right now.
Unfortunately, I'm just an all-in kind of person. I saw a good idea and I was like, okay, I could do that. You know, like it's simple enough that like I don't have to be smarter or better. I just have to get up. So there are days that I mess up. Like there's days that I you know, don't do it. But those days are rare. I would just say, oh, well, in the book, they have you set up your Miracle Morning the night before. You go to bed saying, I'm going to wake up feeling amazing. I'm going to la la la. So you have like this little nighttime routine that you do to prepare for your Miracle Morning. But at night, before I go to bed, I set out the glass of water. You know, like I do the things the night before I put out the book I'm going to read. And I don't know, like it was so nice it felt so good. Like when I did it, it was so good that I decided I want to always do it. And I don't know. I unfortunately am just the kind of person, fortunate for myself, but unfortunate for other people, that I just do it. Like I take it.
Yeah, no, that's good. When I am doing it, like I love it because I have 2 kids and then my husband. So like for me, when I'm actually getting up in the morning and spending time doing it, like I have my nights back with them, which makes it easier because it does get overwhelming sometimes. But thanks.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have a quick question. I am a new mom. So I used to always wake up early and do all my stuff before baby. I would get up early, 5 or 6 o'clock, read, work out, do everything. Now with baby, I start my day at 7 with him if he sleeps. So I'm struggling really for myself not being on his schedule outside of his schedule. So getting my stuff in has been super complicated because I am totally on his schedule. And he's finally, some of you guys see my post, slept for the first night since he's been born. He's almost 7 months old. One night. One night through. So it gave me like 4 hours of continual sleep. But I've been napping sometimes when he naps. Or if I don't nap when he's napping, I'm on 2.5 hours of sleep and I'm trying to work out, take care of him, make his food, nurse. It's driving me crazy trying to figure it all out. And I was just curious, like, as I know a lot of you guys are moms and anybody can weigh in, I guess, but when can I get a schedule back? Anytime soon? Or is it like, that's my struggle I have. It's like getting on this call. I'm like, beg my boyfriend because I teach twice today. And then I have 2 calls, and then it's like, here's the baby all day. So I'm just curious when you were able to start implementing stuff with your kids. Like,
I'm going to let Tara Obermeyer answer this one. I feel like she's a more experienced
She
parent.
might be asleep. Tara, are you there? I saw a hand come up like from the crypt saying she was a morning person, which is probably why she's struggling right now.
Hey, Sarah, this is Jill. I will chime in here. And and especially in our next Sparkle chat, like, you amaze me, and you just have to ride it out. My girls are getting ready to turn 9 and 12, and it's hard when you've got infants. So I am blown away by what you're doing and the progress that you're making. So please, please, please don't beat yourself up, because you're doing so great. Fit it in when you can, and you'll get there. But I mean, it's difficult. So
okay.
every day when you put that in the chat, or every few days, I'm like, you're doing so great. Keep going. So please don't beat yourself up. You inspire me that you're teaching live classes, you're doing workouts at home, you've got a baby. I'm blown away. So yeah, you're awesome.
I'm going to echo that. I mean, my kids are 2.5 and almost 4. So I feel like for me, honestly, like I'm just now getting to the point where they're kind of on a super consistent day in, day out schedule. But for me, when I had the little babies, it was like grace, nothing but grace. And I was like lost for 2 years trying to figure out, I have no clue what this looks like with schedule. So I definitely hear you on trying to figure it out. Give yourself lots of grace. And if the bottom line, I think for you, if you can just do it, I don't know that it matters for you when you do it.
Okay.
I will interject. Sorry, Jenny, really quickly.
Yeah.
There on Facebook, there's a Miracle Morning Facebook community. I would post your question in the Miracle Morning Facebook community and connect with thousands of people who are doing the Miracle Morning. And my son has adopted it too. So I don't have any baby experience at all. So I'm sorry. So yeah, I have kind of a weird situation, but sorry, Jenny, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was actually going to say the exact same thing, which is there's a Miracle Morning community, like Katie said, on Facebook, and it's a great way to meet other people that are, there's thousands of people in the group. So you'll find somebody that's figuring it out like you are.
Okay.
But I'm not a mom, but I do want to chime in with, I do think it's still important, though, what Katie had to say about she doesn't tackle her Facebook notifications or anything else in that regard until her bucket has been full. And I think that I know right now that you are trying to figure out, how to check in with your challengers, how to follow up on those conversations you're having. I know that you're still doing coach activities when you're able to, which sometimes might be 11 o'clock at night, or it might be when the baby's napping, and you're making those things fit in. So my 2 cents to you would be, whenever your first moment in the day is, so it might not be 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., might not even be in the morning, but whenever the first moment of your day is for you to, whether it's when your baby's sleeping or whatever, when you have a minute to work your business, start with the 6 minutes. Start with the 6 minutes of the personal development, the affirmations, the silence. You need that for a lot more, a lot further reasons than just for your business. And I think that if you can start with that and then approach your notifications, start with that and then approach your emails and your conversations, because you, girlfriend, are giving so much right now as far as energy. And so I think that no matter who you are on this call, whether you have a newborn or not, whether you're working full-time or not, it doesn't matter. We all have different scenarios. I think you have to make it work for you. For me, Miracle Morning for me is sometimes my miracle bedtime treat. Sometimes it's like 6 minutes before I go to bed. I do a little visualization. I do my reading. that's just how it is for me because that's how my body works. So you have to kind of honor where you are, meet yourself where you are, and like they said, give yourself some grace and just make it happen. Just try to focus on you first. So, okay, so we're going to wrap it up because we're already at 10 till 10. So thank you guys for being on here. This is recorded, so as soon as I have the link, I will post it in the team page. Thank you, Katie, for sharing all of your awesome insights and with us about the Miracle Morning. So if you guys have any questions specifically for Katie, you can shoot them to her on Facebook. I'm sure she'll answer. Otherwise, look for the recording tomorrow. Next week, I do want to give you a plug that next week's webinar, Chris and I are going to have our cocktails ready, and we're going to do a couples Q&A. So what I'd like for you to do is consider having your spouse or significant other or whoever you want, or just come by yourself to the webinar. We're going to be talking about, there's not going to be any structure. I'm not creating a PowerPoint. I'm not going to have any, these are my tips for getting your husband on board. We're not doing that. That's just lame. So we're going to instead just treat this. We're going to give it all some grace, right? Because I know that this is something that a lot of us are dealing with. So we're going to have a glass of wine. We're all going to bring our spouse if they're willing to come, and we're going to just talk it out. I will answer any question that your husbands or wives throw at me, and Chris will too. So that's going to be next week's webinar at 9 o'clock, really casual, and I'm excited about it. So plan on it. I'll see you guys in the team page. Have a good night.